with the pace at which AI is developing, what does agility look like in managing the growth strategy of any major bank? And same on the startup side. I start a startup with, this concept, this theory. And so as I'm building it, things are changing. And all of a sudden
Yeah.
there's this tremendous capability and my engineering team is only so big. How do I decide, shoot, I better pivot or I'm going to get lost?
I think there are all these elements that go together where kind of companies are going to have to wrestle with, okay, are the competitive pressures so strong and new entrants are coming in so quickly that I need to rapidly shift the way I do things because I do need to create, all these new capabilities and features in order to just stay competitive. And if I do that, what kind of team do I need? And the team that I needed 2 years ago to do something like this could look very different to the team I need next week. Do I need fewer engineers, more engineers? But then also, what does that mean in terms of actual change management? So I think as strategists within organizations, people are going to have to kind of balance and juggle all these decision factors and in a far kind of more compressed cycle than they traditionally did.
So um, the roles are going to change and the team composition may also change. New roles will come up. I have thoughts on both. So the roles are going to change in the sense that PMs are going to become more of eval machines where they're going to be actually checking the output. Someone will have to be a subject matter expert and they will have to be checking or designing what the right output is. Kind of given this input, this should be the output, or these should be the only possible set of outputs. Someone has to design that and kind of create a huge data set. And that person can be an SME or PMs.
Brex, Ramp, and Meadow, those are all quickly growing fintechs. All of them have totally redefined what ownership for a segment looks like. Like, what are the engineers responsible? What are PMs, designers all responsible? And there's like a flexibility and agility assumed in that role.
Like I always love to understand, okay, where did things come from? Like historically, like how did we get to these tightly defined roles? Was it from, when factories and the industrial area kind of first came into place
Taylor's.
yeah, where that's kind of how things were structured and that's how, people kind of, made sense of life in people's professions and you had your specific role in the factory and in your society and now that we have kind of a different form of intelligence does that need to fundamentally shift because we're just living in a very different time to what we did 100 years ago.
Because we've talked a lot about internal teams, whether it be specialists in call centers, portfolio managers, treasurers. What does it mean for how those job descriptions also change? We've talked a lot
Yeah,
about product teams, but do we now need people who are fluent in leveraging AI so
yeah,
that they can keep up? Clifton is another really cool
yeah,
company. They do AI for portfolio managers. And one of the functions, like that's pretty interesting is say you manage a particular stock, you can set an alert, let me know when the earnings report is coming in.
mm,
And then as soon as the earnings report comes out, it doesn't just alert you, it summarizes and gives you key information to help you build valuation, which means if you're really good at using AI as the portfolio manager, you're able to trade faster than someone you might be competing with, which means you have the competitive advantage of new valuation, right? It's a huge dollar amount.
yeah,
So when you talk about not just the product team, but also direct users of the product,
yeah.
requirements for those roles could be changing.
Yeah, absolutely. But then I guess like in that example, there's a question of is there just an inefficiency in the system? Like should it be, should something be dependent on how quickly a human can click a mouse, or should just that just be kind of, should there be a technology solution there? Yeah. And I guess, to both of your points earlier, will these even be human jobs in the future? If your job is to click the mouse faster than the other guy clicking the mouse, was that
Well, just to like have the knowledge and create a
yeah,
new valuation faster. But I kind of like
yeah.
I like what you're saying because essentially like the more mature AI gets, the more, like a robo trader can be doing.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
right now they're kind of basic and they have auto functions based on market movement. But if they're not just like making algorithmic trades, but they're
Mm,
making informed trades. That is a totally different kind of
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
function.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I think every business is going to get to a place where they go, what ultimately drives business value for kind of, this thing I've built. And if it is having lots of data, being able to connect the dots in ways other people can't, then that's where kind of, companies will invest and kind of technology will go. But if it is just about faster, then I think we'll get to a place where you just have a lot of just automated AI-led activity. Um, yeah, which could look like a very different world to the world we have today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I literally
yeah,
Yeah.
can't even imagine it.
yeah.
Another way to spin, Olivia, what you were saying, is it to say that will generalization will or specialization win in the new world? Do you need to be more
Mm.
specialized to be good at your job, or do you need to be more generalized?
It's funny because we've been talking about I in particular have been talking about generalization in role, but I was thinking a little bit about it last night. In company, I think niche wins
Why?
because there's this opportunity for personalization. And I think at least where we're at right now, until we can get to like dynamic interfaces that change, of their own volition as they learn your behavior. Um, One of my favorite examples is like my daughter. She's just of a different culture than me, right? Like the things that she's interested in, the way she talks, like the way she engages with the world is different. And if I build out an AI for her and an AI for, Nikhil and Tay, and something that speaks to not just like the function that you need to do, but something that's going to be fun and entertaining and intuitive to you, I'm going to win. And I think at the company level, just building out ground truth assumptions, decision making changes a little bit, communication style.
Yeah. And so you're saying kind of it's ultimately the niche understanding of the customer you're serving or the humans you're serving at the end of the day, more so than having generalized skills around, good communication, being able to understand how to use AI and so on.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I was just hypothesizing that like, when LLMs are general and intelligent enough, then someone who, as a human, will add value to the conversation will be if someone is an expert in like very specific thing and knows that in and out. Even though AI can know that in and out, they can at least be that one person who has 10x the leverage in that specific domain. Whereas you can also have generalist people who can just do everything a little bit, but they don't know any one thing deeply. Will they have more leverage?
I think it depends. I think there are definitely some industries and some kind of, I guess, parts of the way we've built businesses where it pays to have specialist knowledge because I think there's a lot of kind of history and domain knowledge and understanding of what drives success that kind of specialists have that probably isn't captured in written down processes and isn't captured in kind of documentation that AI can easily absorb and then replicate. And I do think there's kind of, some cases and instances where having more generalized knowledge and, and being able to have kind of AI tools and platforms that kind of handle the specialization for you will win out. There are kind of domains where there's just a lot of history and equity built where you do need an understanding of how to navigate that space in order to be effective.